Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Fundamentals of Object workshop. In this lesson, we're going to briefly review Object Workshop's ETL features. At this point, you're probably familiar with Object Workshop's home screen, so now we'll explore it in more detail. As you can see, the screen is separated into three sections. The object table, which lists all objects in the data model, the Recent ETLs panel, which lists recent ETL activity by run, and the Final panel, which has a number of blades that provide different information and ETL options. The Object table offers you the ability to review the objects that exist in the data model. By default, the table is sorted by the My Last Edit column, so it's easy to return to your most recent work. Any of the other columns can also be sorted just by clicking on them. And as we've seen in previous lessons, you can filter the table by the name, type, and table or view name. The Last Edit column displays the last time the object was edited by any users. And the Last Refresh column displays the last date that the object was run or updated. From this table, any of the objects listed can be opened, reviewed, and edited as desired by clicking on any of the details about the object. The Select for ETL column is where you select which objects you would like to ETL. We'll jump into each of these options in just a moment, but first, I want to talk about Ursa Studio's Smart ETL functionality. Data models generally involve chains of dependencies amongst objects, where rebuilding the model involves updating certain tables before other tables can be updated. Smart ETL tracks those dependencies and allows full or targeted ETLs to be executed with respect to the often vast web of dependencies among objects. At the same time, objects without dependencies can be run in parallel. So, the Smart ETL functionality takes advantage of efficiencies where possible, while respecting dependencies where needed. Generally speaking, when you expand the Select for ETL options, you'll be presented with four choices. The Run This option creates or updates the current project. An example of when you may use this is when you've created an object to publish new fields or create a derived field. In that case, you can select this option to rerun the object and publish your edits. As you can see in the ETL Progress blade, this object is ready to be run. By selecting the Run This and Upstream option, the current object and all the objects it depends on for existence are available to be run. This will refresh the data for every object in the chain of dependencies, which you can see here. If there are objects that you do not want to include in the run, you can remove them by selecting the X icon here to the left of the object name. Selecting the Run This and Downstream option produces the equal but opposite effect. Here, the object and all objects dependent on it for existence are selected to be run. The Exclude This option allows you to specify that this object should not be included in a run. You can select multiple objects to run at the same time, and Ursa Studio will optimize the run for dependencies and parallel processing. Using this toggle above the table allows you to clear all selected objects. If no objects are selected, you can click on the toggle to select all objects in the data model that are not import objects. import objects with local file systems set as the file import location are not included when all objects are selected for ETL. This protects tables created from files imported from a user's device from being overwritten, as Ursa only has access to the file when the user creates the import object. Once you've made your object selections and you're ready to run the ETL, there are a couple of options that you may want to consider using. You can select the Email When Done checkbox to receive an email notification of the completion of the run or any errors that impeded the completion of the run. When selected, the Run Affected Reports checkbox updates the reports that are downstream of these objects. Running a report updates the measures associated with the report. So, selecting this checkbox before running an ETL is an efficient way to update everything downstream of an object. The Save icon enables you to save the ETL you've configured so that you can rerun it in the future. This is useful when you've invested time in crafting an intricate ETL for a recurring use case. An important thing to note here: saved ETLs do not include the exact list of objects present when you create them. Rather, the instructions you created for executing the ETL are saved. The implication of this distinction is that saved ETLs are dynamic and responsive to changes to the objects or object dependencies. To access ETLs that you've saved, select the Saved ETLs blade here, and then select the ETL that you'd like to run. After clicking on the ETL, it'll appear in the ETL Progress blade, ready for execution. Saved ETLs can be triggered by HTTP posts, and the link here can be used for that purpose. This gives you the ability to incorporate rebuilds of your Ursa data model into your other nightly or weekly ETL processes. Finally, to run the ETL, select the lightning bolt icon. We'll go ahead and run this ETL so that you can see how it works. So that's how you select and run objects. It's pretty simple. When an ETL is run, an entry appears in the Recent ETLs panel. You'll see the 5-object ETL that was just run here. And if there are any active ETLs, those will be listed first, followed by the most recent ETLs. By clicking on any one of these, you can find the details of that ETL in the ETL Progress blade over here. This provides insight into who initiated the ETL, when it was started, and the results. If there are any warnings or errors, you can also see those here. If the object is green, it completed without warning or errors. If the object is orange, it was completed with a warning. And if the object is red, it completed with an error. Functionally, errors will stop an ETL from progressing, whereas warnings note the issue of concern but will not stop the ETL. However, when an ETL includes multiple branches of dependencies, an object that errors for one branch of dependencies will not affect other branches, which will continue to run. Upon resumption, only the affected branch will be resumed. To see the warning or error message, you can expand the object to review the details. When you're reviewing an object that errored, you'll see options for resuming the ETL after this issue's been addressed. You can run full load upon resumption, which will rerun the entire object. Or you can run post-load only upon resumption, which will only rerun the post-processing steps after the object has been created. Lastly, you can skip object upon resumption, which will restart the ETL but skip processing associated with the errored object. Whichever of these options you choose, selecting the icon will resume the ETL. The latter two options that I mentioned are deactivated here because I had selected to cancel the ETL. You can also download the log associated with the ETL by selecting this icon. You can also cancel the ETL entirely, like I did previously, by selecting the X icon. However, since I already canceled it, what you'll see here instead is the Resume ETL icon. Now let's take a look at some of the other blades in this panel. The Data Summary blade provides some summary statistics about the objects and recent runs. The Archived Objects blade lists all the objects that have been archived in your instance of Ursa Studio. You can restore any of these objects by clicking on the object you want to restore and selecting the Restore option in the object screen. The Running Processes blade offers insight into the active processes that occur during a build. If there are any long-running queries, those are displayed here as well. One last feature that I'd like to review. This icon allows you to recache the data model. This is a feature that you'll likely not use very often. When you click on this icon, it refreshes the cached version of the data model, which includes the data model objects and their metadata. The cached data mode frequently updates on its own, but there are rare cases where, for efficiency reasons, the data model does not update on every single change. If you find that a recent change has not been reflected in the current state, this option allows you to force a refresh. So now you are well versed in Ursa Studio's ETL features. Thank you for checking out this lesson, and I will see you in the next one.